Ladies and gentlemen, please step into the main room. The final presentation is about to begin. Thank you. Magical Crypto Friends live session.
Let's hear some noise out there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the moment has arrived. It's rapidly come. Are you all being entertained? Great. So the next segment is going to be the podcast featuring the quartet of masterminds and geniuses in podcasting luminaries, which we're going to bring up on stage shortly. Unfortunately, Fluffy Pony has suffered a terrible accident. He's been cryogenically preserved. His mind lives on, and he will be communicating with Fluffy in an existential plane of existence, as represented by this screen on wheels. But without any further ado, so we have Fluffy Pony, Samson Mao, Whale Panda, Satoshi Light. Come on aboard.
Hi, welcome everyone with our live show.
Yourself.
Yeah, Rick, go lower. You're like too tall right now. Can you actually do that with the chain on? That's left. That's right. Down.
Go down, Rick. You're too high. There we go.
Yes, perfect. Amazing technology. Now, so is this on the blockchain or not? Is the robot on the blockchain? I cannot hear you. No. Can we have the audio from the robot?
We should be piping in the robot audio.
Powered by Ethereum.
There we go.
Maybe you should face the crowd. I mean, I know you like to look at me, but yeah, that's better. So how have you guys liked MCC so far?
That doesn't sound very enthusiastic.
No.
How do you guys like MCC so far?
That's the worst.
We'll pay you after for the applause.
It's been very interesting as our first conference to organize something like this. We're actually quite happy the end result so far. I mean, for day one.
Yeah. I mean, Rent a Crowd really worked well. I'm glad that we spent the money on it.
I didn't get any of that, but thank you, Rick. I mean, it's echoey. It's quite echoey here in the room. If audio can fix that in some way.
I know. But you guys remember, if anyone was here last year, you remember we did a live show at Consensus in the Blockstream room, and Ricardo kind of botched our audio. There was no audio. He's doing it again.
It's not my fault.
Oh, that's good, actually. It's way better now. You need to articulate. Get rid of the South African accent, and it should be fine. And there's some lag as well. So we've already received quite positive feedback so far. People seem to enjoy, have something different in Blockchain Week. We kind of reorged Blockchain Week, and this is the main event now, sort of.
That's what we think, at least.
Yeah.
Well, people are calling it MCC consensus, right? But I think next year we need to plan better. I think we just picked the dates this year, and we didn't realize it was Mother's Day.
Yeah, so a lot of people didn't come in because tomorrow is Mother's Day, and we just thought like we should do it around consensus, maybe weekend before. And we didn't even look at like that it was a holiday, or if you can call it. But anyway, every day should be Mother's Day. So if you don't attend because it's Mother's Day, that's not a valid reason. It just means that you don't love your mother enough to show her love every day.
I think some of the people in the audience don't, because when I said tomorrow's Mother's Day, some people are like, oh.
We saw some of the faces go, oh.
We saw some of the faces like, oh.
Wait, is Mother's Day tomorrow? I didn't realize.
Apparently.
It's Jihan's favorite day of the year.
So, you have anything else to add for MCC? So we got up really early. You have to imagine that yesterday, or until early this morning, this was all like tables. This was one big empty room, all tables. And at 4 a.m. they started setting up everything. And we had to prepare the bags for everyone, all the swag bags, you know how big they are. So we had like an entire room full of boxes with dolls, with coins, with everything.
It was a lot of work.
And we need to thank our volunteers.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
Thank you, volunteers.
thank you, volunteers.
Yeah.
You even got food, so maybe you should thank us rather. But they got food.
Yeah. So we thank them enough?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Now, after a successful day, I think we can say we will do something again next year, just not here. Probably something in Asia.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how successful tomorrow is first.
Should be fine. Well, it depends on the after party, I guess.
Well, I mean, getting the bear here is going to be tough.
Yeah, so the bull left, and we're bringing in the bear tomorrow.
That's going to be tough.
So I hope you all dump the top.
I mean, the bear might kill like half our attendees, so yeah, we'll see.
Well, yeah, that's actually not that smart because then
Don't worry, we bought
have
the
less sales
insurance.
next year.
Okay, we'll cancel it.
We bought the insurance. We're okay.
We won't bring the bear then. We don't want to stop the bull market, so scratch the bear.
We'll discuss it after.
Yeah. On to the next topic, I guess.
Yeah.
One thing that has been quite interesting is following the entire conversation when it comes to the reorg. Binance decided not to reorg Bitcoin. So we should be very thankful.
Binance.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Binance.
Thanks, CZ. We owe you one.
Yeah. Phew.
So what do you guys think about that? How stupid was that statement?
Well, first, everyone knows that there was a hack, right? And they lost some coins.
Yeah, so Binance got hacked. It was 40
million, 7,000.
Which, if their sales, like if their numbers are correct, it's like 1 month of profit for them, if they are real, the numbers.
Yeah, plus they have the Seifu fund to cover it, right? So it should be fine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But still, it's like unfortunate that they were hacked. But that kind of triggered the discussion. Someone posted on Twitter, maybe you guys should consider a reorg. And then things kind of went downhill, and everyone went up in arms, started saying no.
But it's also interesting that some people said, you have had like two camps. Like one camp said like, that's stupid. And the other people, other camps said like, but we should at least discuss it. And then you have a third camp like, oh, they were discussing it, so it's possible, so Bitcoin is centralized.
And there's a problem
Or
too.
that Bitcoin will fail, because Bitcoin is a failure because people are discussing it. Right?
Yeah.
So the guy
And then they get interviewed by Peter McCormack.
Did anyone get that? No. Oh, sorry, Rick. It's
Rick,
like
can you say it again?
talk
And
slower.
then they get interviewed by Peter McCormack.
And then they're interviewed by Peter McCormack.
something about Peter McCormack.
Yeah.
Yeah, is Peter here?
Peter is here. I saw him earlier.
He was
He's
here.
in the room.
Maybe Ricardo, you should text us what you want to say, and then we'll read it for you. But yeah, I mean, the other problem, it was compounded by the fact that the guy that posted the idea had Bitcoin Core contributor in his profile, and I don't think he tried to disclaim that he didn't do that much stuff, and then CZ was posting and saying, Bitcoin Core said I should reorg, and that kind of threw some fuel on the fire and made it worse.
for sure.
Yeah. I saw some thread that Greg Maxwell posted later saying you should work harder to like not make it clear you're not associated with Bitcoin Core. Otherwise, people can make these stupid statements that just cause chaos in the ecosystem.
Yeah. I mean, I have a few problems with what happened. Basically, I think, for one thing, I think CZ should have known better that a reorg is like next to impossible, especially for such a small, relatively small amount. And he shouldn't have really said that, make it sound like it could have happened just because he wanted it to happen.
But that was the fun part.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that he just said that, oh, we're not going to do the reorg, as if he could have done it if he wanted to.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people are not cutting him a little bit of slack because he did just get hacked. And he did commit to doing an AMA right after the hack.
Yeah.
Like literally right after.
And he hasn't slept for like 24 hours.
Yeah, so he probably hasn't
so
slept and he's frazzled and he's not thinking straight. And he did retract it later, but still, I think, someone could have advised him, I think, from his team.
But I'm perfect.
That's a discussion you need to do internally, not on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, if he really wanted to do it, he probably should have privately reached out to miners to see how viable it is. I think it's not the end of the world to talk about it. I mean, I think, like, we haven't seen it yet, but if Bitcoin really does get attacked, it'll get attacked by state actors, and they're going to actually like pay miners to attack Bitcoin, to like censor a transaction. What happens when that happens, right? Is Bitcoin going to survive that? Are we going to be able to, are miners incentivized to not accept a bribe from a government to censor a transaction? Or would that actually censor Bitcoin? So I think it's worth discussing it, but not for this relatively small hack.
Yeah, something like Mt. Gox.
I mean, even the Bitfinex hack was bigger than this.
Yeah, it was pretty
Right,
big.
and back then,
118,000 or something like that?
180,000 coins. And back
18
then,
or 18?
I don't remember, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's 100K,
Yeah.
100,000, right? So back then, I think people talked about reorg also, but it was shot down pretty quickly.
Yeah. But I think the message is that a reorg is highly unlikely, almost impossible, just because of the level of coordination you'd have to do with the miners. And if it was possible to do a reorg, you could also very easily do a 51% attack. And I think that's very hard to do because you have to get all the mining pools.
Even if you try to incentivize the reorg, the hacker can also incentivize the other chain, the original chain. So.
And miners are conservative. I mean, they're just making money from mining. They had to take a huge risk to hopefully expect the reorg happens so that they can make money, potentially more money. Why would they do that if there's any defects from that?
Well, it's not just that. If you do it, then you're probably not going to be a miner anymore, right?
Or a pool, right?
Yeah, well, both. So the pool would lose trust.
Well, you'll still be a miner. You will still mine. But
well, you wouldn't.
The pool.
Well, you might kill Bitcoin, right? If you did do a reorg, that
I don't think
might
it'll kill Bitcoin.
It's hard to say.
I don't
it's
think
hard to say. It would be a major setback.
Well, if Bitcoin dies, there's Litecoin, so I'm okay.
Okay, so that's enough on a hypothetical situation, which actually didn't happen. So I think you should move on. So Samson had some stuff to show us, some magical crypto fun.
So we have some magical crypto stuff to show, some cool new stuff. Cue audio, video. So we have
it as well.
A new game on the App Store. It's called Magical Fun. It's meant for kids because we're all about brainwashing children, obviously. So it's got 3 little mini games, and we're planning to add more. The first one is Snack Time. It's a puzzle game where you put together these little snacks, and you can feed it to one of the Magic Crypto friends. But it's for kids.
This is not for adults, just to be clear.
Well, if you really want to play it.
Or if you're high and you want to play something that might be, I don't know.
But we're missing.
I don't eat asparagus, but okay. Looks a bit silly.
So when you download it, we're also actually missing a little bit of audio because these guys were all slow to record their sound bites. But when you feed it, when you finish the thing, the animal will say, "Oh, I love ice cream" or something like that.
So one thing I think it's important to people have been saying that they're trying to get kids involved with Bitcoin. I don't know if this is the right way, but.
Well,
or that they're trying to, how should I put it, brainwash kids.
Yeah, we are, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
An A, congratulations.
This is ABC Lion, so it's just spelling. But you see, we're starting off with simple puzzles games, and then later on, we'll be like, which money is real? Stuff like that.
And the answer will be Bitcoin SV.
What do you say?
Bitcoin SV.
Ah, yes.
Bitcoin SV is obviously the real money.
Yeah, obviously.
Who here thinks so? Get out.
Nobody. This game is 1, 2, 3 chicken or something. I forgot the name.
Hey, there's a chicken behind.
Yeah, that's your game.
Oh.
That you didn't record the audio for.
Well, you keep bugging
So,
about recording
did you already
audio,
mention that you can actually download it now for your
Oh yeah, it's on the App Store now on iOS.
It's on
and
App
Android.
Store.
but there's no audio.
There's like a placeholder until you guys do your job.
I mean, Samsung does all this crazy stuff, and then we wonder, like, why. It's strange that he didn't have a heart attack yet. I mean, I told him a couple of times, like, he's trying to organize everything. He's so detail-oriented. Yeah.
I might. We also launched our new website. It's magicalcryptofriends.com, and it's live now too, so you can always go and check it out. We've been working on this for a couple months now, made by my team at Pixelmatic. But
Well, when you say it took working on it for a couple of months, you've been working on the short for 1.5 years. I mean, it was finished a year ago, and you just did the audio last night. So.
yeah, that's why I'm actually glad that Fake Toshi is still relevant. Because if he wasn't, then the short would be out of date.
People were wondering why we didn't put like him suing people in the short.
Yeah, because I
It's
did
like,
it.
this was done like more than almost a year ago, so he
But
wasn't suing people back
but
then.
it's still relevant.
Yeah.
We'll do another one. So yeah, all our episodes are on here. We're going to do more shorts, so the shorts will be on here as well. We also,
Yeah, so is there anyone you want to make fun of next time for a short?
No, to be clear, the short was not about Craig Wright.
No.
It's not about him being a fraud, because he's not a fraud.
So we also have a store. I think we're not ready to start shipping stuff yet, so inventory is going to say 0, but we'll post up a tweet when ready to start selling stuff. But we will have our dolls on sale and maybe some T-shirts and other stuff too. But not the coins, because those are limited edition.
Yeah, so to be clear, the coins that you can buy or received in the give back here, they're just for the conference here. So if someone else at home or wants to buy them, you will need to find someone who was here and try to buy it from them.
So if we
or
don't sell
rob
out,
them, or
if we don't sell out here, we're going to destroy them, right?
yeah, of course.
So the back of the coins have a hologram, and if you peel the hologram off, there's a QR code. We don't have a way to sweep them yet, but Lawrence from Blockstream is working on it.
This video is very long. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's why I told you
it's
guys.
very boring.
Yeah, I didn't have time to edit it. So the coins have one magical crypto token in them. So technically, you could sweep them off. They're issued on the Liquid blockchain. So right now, there's 2,000 coins. We actually have a reissuance token, so next conference we can do more. But technically, you could trade them on an exchange, and someday they might be worth $1 billion each. So this is our next announcement. We have Telegram sticker packs, not available yet, but they will be, and we'll tweet them out when we're ready. So we've got one pack for each character.
This is how we waste our time making stuff.
Yeah, so now you wonder, like, why our episodes are so long, and why it takes so long to edit them. Like, half of the time it's like Samson talking about Liquid or anything else, and we cut that part out before we upload it. And that's why this is taking so long now.
No,
Because
we're done.
he's
I think the next one is
Pony.
No,
Panda.
Panda.
Yeah. So you have a lot of emojis. I'm going to use the panda cry a lot.
Are we charging for this?
No, it's free.
Wasted opportunity.
Okay, so how much more of this is there?
I don't know. Is the video almost done?
Should be, right?
Yeah. Did we see all the characters?
What are we talking about next?
Next thing.
His scam. Oh, look, it's me,
Yeah.
Rick.
There's the pony. And look, there's one with a pony and panda.
What are you guys
laughing.
doing?
Laughing with
Together.
Samson, probably.
Okay, we can switch to the next video. So I also have an announcement for Pixelmatic. It's my game company. Maybe some people haven't heard about it yet.
The Wi-Fi sponsor.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi sponsor.
Yeah.
Oh, it was funny. I saw someone tweeting because our Wi-Fi password was tethered to the moon.
It was. You want to give him some attention?
Well, it's funny. Some guy was saying, "See, look, I told you guys."
So that person was a
We're
former
connected.
employee from R3.
I don't know, but it says you're connected to Tether. See, this is the evidence.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an obvious troll, but he took the bait. Okay, can you play the next video? Okay, so this announcement is for Pixelmatic. So we're actually going to be doing a security token on Liquid. And we're kicking it off, we've kicked it off already. We've already started raising some of the funding. One of our backers is Heisenberg Capital. That's Max Kaiser and Stacy. And we have some other investors too, East Ventures, and a few other ones. We'll probably announce them in a few days. But this MMO RTS game, it's a sci-fi space game. It's meant to be sort of like EVE Online meets real-time strategy. And we just made some big hires for this project. We hired Jason Lee. He's our Chief Creative Officer. He was previously the lead designer on Age of Empires. So we kind of plucked him away from Microsoft. And we also hired Damon Gauthier. He's from the original Homeworld team. I don't know if you guys play RTS, but Homeworld is like, someone does. Homeworld's like a classic space battle game. So these guys have joined Pixelmatic, and we're ready to start cranking it out. We've almost closed the first 3 million, and we're going to raise about 16 to 27 sometime at the end of the year.
So, Charlie, do you also feel that Magical Crypto Friends is becoming more of like a Samsung shilling platform?
It definitely does seem like that. But the game looks pretty cool, I have to say. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, that's it for my announcement. So, what do you want to do now? Audience questions?
Yeah, audience questions. So,
have a lot of time.
actually, what we're talking about the Tim Swanson tweet. So, what he said was putting aside the multitude of bullies speaking at MCC 2019. I don't know who the bullies are here. I guess we're bullies. Charlie bully. Okay. What is
I'm a bully.
Yeah, you're the biggest bully of them all. What is interesting is just how explicit the shilling of Tether is. Because our point, like we're trying to pump Tether to $2. I mean, that's the whole point of a stablecoin, right? Yeah. So, okay, let's go with the audience questions. I just wanted to point out how stupid Tim Swanson is.
He might be in the audience, by the way.
Yes, I don't care.
Well, how did he find that? It's so secret.
It's Twitter.
I'm anonymous. I mean, come on. Will Panda.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we have 2 mics. We have 2 runners and 2 mics. If anyone wants to ask questions, please don't ask about Infinite Fleet. Please don't ask about Liquid or anything else like that.
you can ask about Liquid.
Ask us anything.
So
Anything that's dangerous.
where are the mics?
Are you standing up waiting in line for a mic?
We're actually doing Q&A because we didn't have time to plan a show.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's hear each of yours best price pump theory for the recent price pump. Let's hear your theories.
What was the question?
The best what theory?
Let's hear your thoughts on your theory for the recent price pump.
The reason why the price...
I'll go first.
Like make
Okay.
up whatever you want.
Yeah, okay, Rick, why did the price pump?
So what I suspect happened is the Binance hacker wanted more money in the hot wallet, and so he pumped the price.
What did he say?
Binance hacker did what?
Needed more money in the hot wallet.
Needs more money in the hot wallet or something. It's still very difficult to understand your... But I think the audience hears you better than we do. I hope.
Yeah, there's no microphones.
Why is the price increasing? Well, we brought the bull, and now tomorrow we're going to sacrifice the bull, and the price will go up. And after that, we'll have big barbecue. It was actually Rodolfo Novak's idea. Thank you, Rodolfo.
It's a good one.
Yeah. The price went up because there's more demand.
There's more buyers than sellers?
No, there are always equal amount of buyers and sellers.
Buyers are willing to pay more than sellers are willing to.
Yes.
This is very complex theory here.
Yeah.
No, I think we're starting to price in the halving. it's similar to the other halving, the last halving. The price started going up, I don't know, half a year before, right? And then halving was kind of, people expected it to pop, and it didn't really pop. So I think we're seeing the price in now. But I've always thought that Bitcoin is undervalued right now. I think we should be about 10K. So I'm not that surprised that we are moving back up. I think, I don't want to make any predictions, but I think it's going to keep going up. And
I don't want to make any predictions, but it's going to, I mean, now we're just trying to pump Bitcoin.
I don't want to make any number predictions, but it's going up.
And I think people are just more confident of the whole market. Like the Binance hack just kind of been there, done that, and people are like, doesn't really affect anything.
Well, like if you're in a bull market, even like bad news doesn't really affect the price that much.
Yeah, that's true. So we're in a bull market?
We're going through, yeah, I would say so at this point.
Yeah, does
Next
that answer the question?
Not really, but I mean, it's like you always get those questions, and then you have to like move around because you don't want to make it like avoid the answer like directly because you don't want to make a prediction. Because if you make it like a explicit prediction, people are going to use it against you. So,
next question.
Hi, this question is for Samson. Will there be any interaction between Liquid and the Lightning Network if there isn't yet?
Oh, that's a very good question. So the question is, will there be any interaction between Liquid and the Lightning Network? Yeah, I don't know if I should talk about that. I think, so there will be, because Liquid is based off of Bitcoin. So technically, it is possible to do a Lightning Network on top of any Liquid asset. And I think we're preparing a demo this week at one of the tech sessions at Consensus to show it. But yeah, there can be.
So apparently the audience hears Ricardo fine. We don't, because of the speakers here. The audience hears Ricardo fine.
Oh,
it's nothing to do with your like
We can't hear them
chilling.
there's no speakers pointing towards us.
yeah, okay.
Okay. Did that answer your? Did you
Yeah,
answer?
yeah, I answered it.
I mean, when you start talking about Liquid, I start browsing through there. So.
Yeah. By the way, we also have a lot of new members in Liquid and integrations.
Good for you, Samson. Good for you.
I know.
Actually, how are we going to do the draw tomorrow for the Lambos?
Just pick them out of a hat.
But we're going to do it here on stage during coffee break.
We'll do it live.
And how is Ricardo going to do it?
He'll tell you to pick a specific paper in the hat.
Like, pick a random number between 1 and 800. Ricardo?
73.
Okay.
What do you say?
73.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
We have one back there.
All right.
Hi there. Thanks, guys, for a great conference. What can you tell us about the development staff of Litecoin and the challenges of maintaining a strong development team to keep up the quality of the code?
Does Litecoin have any developers? I thought it's just copy-pasting from Bitcoin.
We still need to
burn.
pace, right? It's definitely hard, a challenge to get developers interested in working on Litecoin. But we have a good team, and we get most of the. I mean, it's pretty clear that we get most of the stuff from Bitcoin, right? So we fork Bitcoin, and everything upstream we can just deploy it to Litecoin. So we get a lot of that from Bitcoin. We're also working on other things like the Mimblewimble sidechain, or not sidechain, but extension blocks. So we're trying to work on that and see what happens. So yeah, so stay tuned on what's going to happen for the next year. But the good thing about Litecoin is we basically get all the Bitcoin stuff for free, right? Bitcoin has like the best developers, the best people working on it, and we just get it for free. So it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that answer your question? I can't actually tell who asked me the question.
So this question is for Charlie. Last year you tweeted that if I send you 10 ETH, you would send me 100 back. And you never did. So I'm here to collect that. No, actually, this question's for Samson. Based on your gaming reveal there, I just wondering if you had any thoughts about blockchain gaming in general, or projects like Engine Coin, and whether or not that could be like a really catalyst for the industry in general.
So I don't really like the concept of blockchain gaming. I like integration of crypto into games. So for Infinite Fleet, we're planning to actually use a real utility token, which is generated by participation in in-game events. But we're just using it as a currency so that, MMO games, if you're familiar with MMO games, like people like to manage their currencies. If they have a guild or a clan, or an alliance, a corporation in EVE, then you manage funds and collect them. And there's a lot of cool stuff. So our utility token will be done in Liquid. So you could actually use that, use a multi-sig wallet for your guild funds. Because people have infiltrated a guild in EVE and played for like a year just to steal their guild funds. But there's interesting things that we can do to bring cryptocurrencies to games. And I think it's very reciprocal too, because you can also open the door to a lot more users of cryptocurrencies by integrating into a game. The established players, I don't think, are going to add a crypto. Like World of Warcraft is not going to add it. Lineage 2 is not going to add it. But because I'm in the space and I see the potential, someone was asking about Lightning on Liquid. So the utility token in Infinite Fleet can be powered through Lightning. So we can have instant free transactions down the road. But it also is a way to get more people into crypto. Like people that are playing the game, they can earn the utility token and they can go and sell it somewhere, and it's transportable.
So it's not about putting every game action on the blockchain. I mean, a lot of blockchain games are doing that, which does not make any sense whatsoever and does not scale.
Yes. And it doesn't, if you put some items from a game on a blockchain and the company goes away, and your items go away, you'll have a token, but you don't have that sword or armor anymore. So I don't really see the use.
So it's decentralized, but it's still centralized because you depend on the game to actually give it value.
Exactly.
Right.
So is that an okay answer?
We have one person nodding, so it must be okay.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions?
Did you get any of that, Rick?
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, you need to use the microphone. It's not on.
We're having some technical difficulties.
So last year we prepared our agenda way better than this year, because we are so busy now with everything. So we just really prepare an agenda for the show. We thought, we'll just wing it. And
He's ready? Ready?
to go? Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
So my question is for Fluffy Pony. Obviously, Monero doesn't have the capability for XCATs right now, or cross-chain atomic swaps. Is that something you see in the future as being an important step for Monero?
Sorry, I missed the functionality that Monero doesn't have. Can you repeat it?
So do you see cross-chain atomic swaps as being a big step forward for Monero and something that you guys are going to pursue?
A lot of the functionality that's needed for cross-chain atomic swaps is the same functionality needed for Lightning. So I I think that we're probably going to end up, I can't speak for all the developers, but my expectation is that the developers will end up building out the functionality needed for both atomic swaps and Lightning. I think it is relevant, and I think it is important for Monero to be able to handle cross-chain atomic swaps to allow users of cryptocurrencies that aren't currently priced to be able to trivially and at a very low cost move in and out of Monero, thus severing any on-chain links.
Does that answer your question? Okay, I didn't hear anything. Okay. Next.
You can mention.
Any other questions? How are we doing for time?
Fine.
Okay.
So apparently it's been 30 days since Holdonaut disappeared from Twitter. And someone just wanted us to mention that, yeah, in 30 days. So
we miss him. We miss him and we want him to come back to Twitter.
Oh, so you're assuming he's following the show?
Well,
obviously.
I heard he's doing okay.
Do we have contact with him?
Okay.
I don't know. No one knows who he is, so hard to say.
Yeah. Well, if he wants to communicate with the community, feel free to reach out to us. I've chatted with him previously, so he can prove to me who he is. So, yeah, open offer if you wanted to. Because he deleted his Twitter account, and that was his only presence. So there's no, like, it's kind of like Satoshi, right? If Satoshi came out, and there's no way to prove himself, right? So, yeah. So if you really want to talk to the community, come send me a message, and I can help, or we can help. So.
Yeah, but his fundraiser is pretty good, right? I think they crossed 32K.
Yeah, it's been a while since I checked, but.
Yeah.
So have you been sued yet? Have you been sued yet?
Not yet. You?
No.
Charlie?
Not yet.
No.
Fluffy Pony?
Ricardo, you were begging.
I asked so nicely. I begged, and Calvin didn't even reply.
Maybe we shouldn't give him any attention at all. So any other questions? We have one there.
We shouldn't give him any attention except we created a whole short about it.
Thank you.
Hello. Before.
My question for Charlie is, there's kind of a delay on this mic, sorry. Do you see Litecoin having its own use case separate from Bitcoin?
Like smart contracts or?
Well, we're working on trying something different with Mimblewimble, right? Trying to make Litecoin more fungible. So that's definitely going to be different from Bitcoin. But in the end, it's still, the idea is still, the goal is still like sound money, right? We're not creating PayPal 2.0. We're creating, in Litecoin's case, Silver 2.0 to Bitcoin's Gold 2.0, right? So we still want it to be money that is censorship resistant, immutable, and that part is similar to Bitcoin. But I think even for Bitcoin, we want money to be more fungible, right? We want to be able to spend it without the recipient being able to discriminate between the payments that you're sending them versus someone else sending them, or the different outputs that you're using. So that's something that we definitely will work on and try to see if it can work out on Litecoin.
Okay, so I actually have a question. So Rick, are you having fun? Like, how is it to be a robot at a conference? You get a lot of attention.
Okay, so being a robot at a conference is an interesting experience. It sucks because nobody can give me a hug and give me a sticker and give me a high five. And it sucks that no one can hear me unless they put their head like right up close to the speaker when it's loud. But it is pretty cool that I can sit halfway across the planet and move around and walk into chairs and stuff with a robot.
So tomorrow we're going to put you in a dark closet and see how long it takes you to get out.
We can try that if that's what you're into.
Is it like a GPS on there, so your handler can find you?
My Blockstream handler.
The best part about Fluffy Pony being in the robot is you can kick him and he can't do anything about it.
You're so mean, Charlie.
I like your watch. It's a nice watch.
Yeah.
He is a watch.
Thank you.
He's a big watch.
Inspired by Flavor Flav.
We have a question over there.
Do we?
Hi. Yeah. Wherever I go to these conferences around the world, the enthusiasm is always hard to contain. but there's rarely ever a contrarian opinion, someone getting up and saying, why not? So this question could be for any or all of you, but what's one thing that every now and then you wake up in the middle of the night screaming, or something that you have a fear about that maybe this enthusiasm is more than it should be? Does that make sense?
In a way, yes. I was worried about the price, not now, but when the price was around $200, a lot of us were thinking like, this can go to zero. We invested a lot of time, effort, money in it, and at that point we were still like, or at least I felt, and I know other people like me, like mostly traders I guess, still felt like this can still go to zero. And at the moment I don't really have that anymore.
That's like the difference between the last bear market and this one.
Yeah.
The last time when it went from 1,000 to 200, actually a lot of people thought this is it, right? This is a failed project.
And now it's just like 20,000 to 3,200. I mean,
and people didn't think it was going to go to zero. So, which is a telling sign that we've made it. We're not going to die anymore.
We made it, guys.
So the question was what? That do we wake up and think it's like too crazy right now?
Or anything bad about it, right?
I don't know. I think I don't really see anything bad about Bitcoin, and I see a lot of bad stuff about blockchain. Like everyone wants to find an interesting way to use a blockchain, and I think that's bad. But I think Bitcoin can go and become much more valuable, and it could probably reach like 200K, 300K a coin, just because it is superior as a store of value compared to everything else. And if you look at like the property market or with gold, people are using property as a store of value, and that's actually really bad because that can cause things like housing issues where people are buying houses or apartments and there's no place for people to rent or live in.
There's one thing I do want to mention, like as an example for you, is that some people are saying like, for example, with Lightning, there's a lot of hype around Lightning. There's a lot happening, building, but Lightning is not going to solve everything from like by tomorrow. So it needs time. So you just have to be realistic about your expectations and about the goals. And a lot of scammers are the opposite. Like they say they fixed everything right now and they're superior. And yeah, I think that's what's great about this community is that they're more realistic about things.
The thing that concerns me is that we haven't solved the problem with protecting funds, right? Exchanges are still getting hacked, and just recently Binance got hacked. I mean, the whole thing.
So are you saying that Binance hacked themselves to promote their DEX?
I didn't say that. I'm just saying that it's still a big problem, right? Exchanges getting hacked. I mean, the thing about Bitcoin is that you can be your own bank, but being your own bank means you have to protect your own money, and that's hard. And we haven't solved that problem yet. Will we ever solve it? That's the question, right?
That's why you should use Liquid, so you can take your funds off exchange quickly.
That doesn't help.
Well, it helps a little bit. Because people leave coins on the exchange because they have to wait for confirmations and wait for everything. Whereas with Liquid,
people leave coins on the exchange because they can't protect it better themselves.
Well, I think there are solutions coming to address that. Like a lot of self-custody solutions are on the market already, and more are coming, and that will help. And then if you can move it quickly on and off, then it'll incentivize people, disincentivize keeping it.
Alan is trying to tell us something. I have no idea what Alan is trying to tell us.
Alan, come up and tell us what.
More questions.
Okay, more questions. Question. And there's a question over there too, right?
Yo.
Next.
Okay, one and then two.
All right, so in terms of the current FinCEN and old people talking about, hey, we need to produce a bill to, make Bitcoin illegal, and it's going to be it's a threat to the, New York Federal Reserve and so such. Do you have any kind of predictions in 2019 for the rest of 2019 in terms of any kind of legislation or regulation that might come down specifically in the U.S. And then you can maybe generalize this across the world?
You're the American.
Yeah.
Tell us.
I don't think Bitcoin will be banned in the U.S. I think we're past that point, right? So.
I think this fits in nicely for tomorrow. I mean, we're not like regulatory experts, but tomorrow we have like a panel.
Of regulatory experts?
Yes, exactly. So go tomorrow.
Come tomorrow, you mean?
Come tomorrow. Ask Caitlin or someone else at on the panel, and I think you will get a better answer there than from the 3.5 of us.
All right. Next question. Yeah, Frank.
Test. So this is directed to Charlie. You mentioned you hold Bitcoin, Litecoin, Nano, maybe Decred. So if Bitcoin is gold and Litecoin is silver, then how do you see Nano, for example? Because it seems like Nano could be silver, a better silver than Litecoin.
Someone's trying to pump the shitcoin.
You're such a shitcoiner.
Sounds like it. People keep on asking me whether I hold this coin, if I still hold this coin. I think they want to know. Yeah, so I mean, I play around with coins, right? So I assume everyone here does also. Just buy some coins, try other technology. So I mean, I play around with Nano. It seems pretty interesting. I still hold some. I mean, just not a lot, right? So it's not like, please don't say because Charlie holds Nano, then it's going to rise.
The CoinDesk article is coming out right now.
Yeah. CoinDesk doesn't write about that, but a lot of other journalists write about it. Just any tweet I make, they just like take it the wrong way. No, I don't think Nano is going to replace Litecoin as silver. The thing with Nano is that it has 0 fees.
We're not allowed to talk about shitcoins on this,
not allowed to talk
at this
about
conference.
It has 0 fees, but it's not as decentralized, right? So there's always trade-offs, right? There's a lot of coins that say we're faster than Bitcoin, we're this and this and this better than Bitcoin and Litecoin. But there are trade-offs. Nothing is strictly better than Bitcoin or Litecoin. There's always trade-offs. Litecoin has trade-offs against Bitcoin also. It's faster, but it's less secure, right? So one transaction can be faster, but the security on it pales in comparison to Bitcoin. But it's okay for smaller transactions. So everything has trade-offs. So if you want to use some other coin and you're willing to accept that trade-off, a lot of times the trade-off is more centralization, right? And it might be perfectly fine for you to say this is a good enough trade-off when the transaction speed is, for example, Ripple, right? If the transaction speed is like a second and it confirms in a second, and you're willing to trade off the centralization part of it, a lot of people are willing to do that, and that's fine. Just use Ripple for a lot of things if you want to. For me,
that's another CoinDesk article.
That's what? That's
another CoinDesk article.
But for me, like, I care about what cryptocurrency, the thing that it made possible is censorship resistance and immutability, and that's something that you need decentralization for. So I'm not willing to make that trade-off. Like, I'm not here for PayPal 2.0. I'm here for like better form of money. Right.
We tried so hard to keep all the scam coins out of this. We got so many offers for ICOs and other coins to come here and to sponsor it, and now you're gonna mention everything. Okay. I guess we can do one more question, and
so
here in the front.
Last question.
Oh, there. Okay.
Two more.
Okay, two more questions.
Two more. Those two, and then yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. That's me, I guess. So, thinking about Bitcoin, price has done what price does over time. We all spend a lot of time trying to assess valuation, and that means looking at the underlying growth of the network and user adoption. Could each of you comment briefly on what metrics you find to be your favorite? What sorts of parameters on network growth and user adoption you find meaningful?
That's a difficult question because everything, if you're gonna focus on one metric, it's gonna be manipulated. So people have been, or for example, if you take like transactions are up, but are transactions up because of fairy block or other sort of spam? It's very difficult to see what's like a real usage and what's other usage. So
I tend to focus on developer metrics. So number of new developers that are working on Bitcoin and the ecosystem. So it's not just Bitcoin the core software, but wallets and Lightning, things like that. And the thing that is very telling for me is that I am more interested.
And guided access mode is not enabled. Oh, he's connecting.
Okay, I'll answer while he's reconnecting. So I think value transacted per second is an interesting method, measurement that a lot of people don't think about. A lot of people talk about transactions, transaction volume, or transactions per second, but that doesn't really matter in a settlement network. And most blockchains are still settlement networks because it still takes time and you have to wait for confirmations for full settlement. But I think I did a calculation a year ago, and Bitcoin is the only one that actually moves like thousands of dollars a second if you look at all the on-chain transaction compared to price. So it doesn't matter if a coin can have 1 million transactions a second if it's worthless, because then you're still not moving money around and letting people actually transfer value. I think for Bitcoin, transactions like 20% are Veriblock, 10 to 15% are Omni transactions. So there's a lot of garbage transactions. So you have to look at what is actually valuable. And I think there's a media outlet that criticized Liquid saying, oh, it's not getting adoption because it doesn't have a lot of transactions. But we don't need to.
I think you need to check with merchants like Bitrefill or something like that. Like they can actually see the actual usage.
Yeah, but you can do the math yourself. Like how many transactions are happening and how much money is being moved in a day.
You were talking before, Rick, before you started echoing and timing out.
The only other thing I wanted to say about developer metrics is that obviously they can be gamed quite easily, so it's something that I'm quite cautious about. But if you take a look at Bitcoin Core in particular, pull requests are not merged very rapidly, and the quality of code is extremely high. So it's not developer metrics like the number of new lines of code that are merged. It's more like, are people being attracted to the ecosystem, to work on the ecosystem as developers? Because I find that a technical project like this is very top-down.
All right. Does that answer your question?
So what I'm thinking is people are talking about trying to figure out like what metric to look at to say whether or not Bitcoin should be valued at this price because of that metric. But I actually think about it the other way. The price is actually a really good metric, right? The market cap of Bitcoin is a good metric of how successful Bitcoin is, right? If you think of Bitcoin as stored value, the amount of money stored in Bitcoin is the metric that tells you how much people are willing to put their wealth in Bitcoin and leave it there, right? Because they believe it to be the asset class that they want to store their value in. So the market cap is actually the best metric to tell you how successful Bitcoin is, which is kind of weird because people are trying to figure out what price it should be based on
but the problem with market cap is then you have all the other shitcoins that have large inflated market caps because they have
Well,
massive
it's market
supply.
cap and liquidity, right? If there's no liquidity, then they can't. It's not.
I know,
really
but if you're only comparing market cap, it's bad. But
there needs to be a metric with market cap and liquidity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's safe to look at market cap for Bitcoin, but not for other things.
Sure.
Okay, next question was here in front.
Next and last question?
Last, yeah.
Okay.
I'm curious whether Ricardo or any of you have had a chance to review the Flood XMR paper.
That's a Ricardo question.
Yes.
He has. Okay, thank you.
He said yes.
Yeah, that's the answer.
Well, if you have, then I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the ramifications.
Sure. So the Flood XMR paper basically is an extension of an attack that the Monero Research Lab detailed in their very first paper in 2014, which basically says if you own like 70 or 80% of the outputs on the network, then you'll be able to figure out with a reasonable amount of certainty which is the true signer in a ring signature. The problem with Flood XMR is that they made a bunch of assumptions and then said it's trivial to own 80% of the outputs in the network because transactions in Monero are super cheap. And so you can just create billions of outputs. They got a bunch of things wrong. As an example, the entire hypothesis was based on creating transactions with 100 outputs. But Monero limits outputs to 16 per transaction. They also assumed that transaction fees increase linearly with transaction size, but they don't. There's a whole complex algorithm that's based on whether we are expanding the dynamic block size or not. And so it's not linear with size at all. So basically, because of that and a number of other major issues, they underestimated the cost of being able to flood the network with transaction outputs that you own by at least several orders of magnitude, at least. So instead of it costing you $1,600 to do, it would cost you millions of dollars to do because of the restrictions that the network has in place. And that's the attack is real, but the cost is exorbitant. So from a sort of game theoretic incentives perspective, we look at that, we say, yes, there is a risk, but the risk is cryptographically negligible. Another thing to consider, and I don't want to spend a long time on this topic, but another thing to consider is who is the person that's going to attack Monero in this way and flood the network with a bunch of outputs, or flood the chain with a bunch of outputs. Let's assume that it's a state-grade attacker. So, I don't know, it's the NSA. And the NSA go and they do this. And then there's another state-grade attacker. So, I don't know, the European Intelligence Agency. And they want to go do this as well. And Interpol want to, and Europol want to, and you got 30 state-grade attackers all over the world that are all performing the same attack. They're basically working against each other. And the chances of all of these intelligence agencies and law enforcement agencies and state-grade attackers getting together and saying, hey guys, we should all band together to flood the Monero chain with transactions it's never going to happen. So they'll constantly, even if they try and perform this attack, even if they're willing to spend the money, they are just going to be working against each other. And that's ultimately good for Monero because it's creating more untraceable outputs that you can create ring signatures with.
Great, thank you. So did Ricardo just say he's going to roll it back if there's an attack?
Are you going to roll back the chain?
We're going to reorg. We'll just speak to the miners and reorg.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So that was a show. So thank you very much, and hope to see you again tomorrow. Let me just find the address where you're supposed to go now. One Oak. It's at 453 West 17th Street. So that's where the after party is with an open bar, thanks to Bitsy.
Yeah. See you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Yeah, don't be late.
10 a.m. here with the badge, or you don't get in.
All right, bye now.
Bye.